We have a witness now who's joining us by phone. His name is Justin Hickens. He apparently was at the scene of the shooting. Justin, what did you see? What did you hear?
I was about 20 yards away on Charlie's left. I had gotten there probably just a few minutes before noon. There was thousands of people there. Unfortunately, there was no metal detectors. There was there was security by Charlie, but anybody could have shown up with whatever, unfortunately. And I happened to kind of maneuver my way down close on the side. And the first interaction probably took about 10 minutes. It was a religious-related exchange. And then there was someone who stepped up, ironically, coincidentally, who asked a question about mass shootings. And about 60 to 90 seconds in, we heard a big loud shot. I saw a bunch of blood come out of Charlie. I saw his body kind of kick back and go limp, and everybody dropped to the ground. And luckily, there were no other bullets sprayed into the crowd because nobody was really able to go anywhere. It was just like a big, open pavilion, amphitheater, outdoor venue. And, lots of screaming, lots of yelling, lots of bodies on top of each other. And after a couple minutes, people got up and started kind of running, getting out of there. There were some gates, some barriers that had been pushed aside and knocked over, and people were able to move. And I started to move quickly, and then kind of realized that I said, I think we're okay. And I kind of stopped walking away, and I kind of turned around, and all of a sudden I saw officers walking with this very elderly gentleman with white hair, and they had him arrested, had him on his knees. He was screaming about, his rights and all that stuff, and they cuffed him and put him away, and about 20, 30 other people just said, yeah, that's the guy. That was the shooter. And people had said that they had seen him there early. He got to the event really early, was kind of walking around, talking to a lot of people, just this elderly gentleman. But that's all I got for you.
Justin, no, that's a lot, and I'm going to keep you on the air with this because this is important what you saw. People who haven't seen these events, these turning point events, or these events with Charlie Kirk, people can go up. There's a microphone usually set up, and people can try to debate him or bring up a question or a point. Set up before the shooting, what exactly was happening? Because you touched upon that.
Well, there was. I couldn't exactly tell how many, but I'm sure there was maybe 15 to 20 people in line to talk to Charlie, enough to where he probably felt like it was going to take a good while to get through everybody. And he had only gotten through one exchange with an individual. And honestly, it was kind of getting drawn out a little bit too much. The crowd was getting a little restless. Like, hey, we're talking too much on this religious topic. Let's go to something else. And so finally they wrapped up, and then somebody else got up there, and like I said, for about 60 to 90 seconds, there was an exchange about mass shootings, transgenders involved in mass shootings, and ironically, that's when the shot went off.
And then when you heard the shot, did it sound like it was close, near to where he was speaking, or did it sound like it was coming from afar, maybe in the back of the crowd, or could you tell?
No, it sounded like it was the back of the crowd. Which was pretty wild. I don't know though. It's like it must have been closer, but then again, it's like if it was that close, how did nobody else, see this man pulling a gun out of his, side or pocket or whatever? So
once he was shot, once Charlie was shot, was there any first aid? Could you see? Do you know if paramedics were able to get to him? Was there any type of sort of first responders on the campus?
Well, there were about 15 to 20 people, right behind him, whether that was security, whether that was medical, whether that was whoever. But as soon as he was shot, he, just kind of went limp, fell over, and then everybody just dropped and went down. And I had bodies on top of me, and I was just praying. I was just like, I hope there's not, a bunch of stuff spraying into the crowd here, because everybody's a sitting duck right now.
We sort of all witnessed what happened to President Trump when he was on the campaign trail in Pennsylvania, and what happened there. When this was happening, I mean, did it kind of register in your head, someone's trying to kill Charlie Kirk?
Oh, yeah, immediately. I mean, for a split second, you kind of like, wait a minute, is this really happening? And, you saw the amount of blood that came out upon the initial shot, and you knew that it did not look good.
After he's shot and he sort of collapses back and everyone hits the ground and people are piling on top of you, we've seen some videos of sort of the mass hysteria to run out of there. When does that happen?
I think that probably started maybe about 10 to 15 seconds after. People give it a few seconds, realize there's no more shots being fired. Now's our time to take a chance and get out of here. And so I was a little, I stayed down a little bit longer, and then finally realized after probably a good minute and a half had gone by that there were no more shots. I was like, okay, I'm probably good to get up and make a move.
These things happen so fast, and you said in your head you weren't sure if it was real or not. I'm assuming you live in the state of Utah as well. You've
Correct.
Likely heard gunshots before, rifle shots, buckshots, whatever it may be.
Oh, yeah.
It was unmistakable that what was happening as it occurred, right? But it happened so fast.
Correct.
I'm sure it could also be confusing.
Yeah, well, and people were just packed in. People were shoulder to shoulder in there. I mean, it was when I first got there, I couldn't even see the stage, and I said, hey, let me try to. It was just me by myself, so I thought, let me try to, maneuver my way down closer to the side, and so that's what I ended up doing. I was just completely, to his left on the side wall, but got about 20 yards away. I mean, there was one person in front of me on the rail.
Yeah, and did the crowd seem welcoming? I mean, we see some red hats there. We know Charlie Kirk was a supporter of the president, one of his most vocal supporters. Was it sort of friendly to Charlie Kirk, or was it hostile?
I would say about 98% friendly. There was a small faction up on a balcony with a trans flag and lots of different rainbow-colored hairdos and interesting-looking characters, let's say, that were kind of barking back and yelling and shouting. But for the most part, I would say 98%, welcoming and friendly.
When we look at this shot right here that we're freezing because we don't want to show the moment that he was shot, but this is maybe a millisecond before that bullet apparently enters his neck. It doesn't look like he has anyone around him. I know you said there were people there that were sort of some kind of security, but at least around him there was no sort of plexiglass, no kind of barrier. I mean, at least we can't see it. What do you remember seeing?
Nothing. I mean, yeah, maybe the closest individual was still, 20 feet away from him. I mean, he was just at his table and his chair, and so I'm actually surrounded by a bunch of SWAT. There's a bunch of SWAT people going through campus right now. I'm inside with a group of people that was pulled inside to, give testimony and stuff like that. So it's
Justin, I do have another question because we don't know this area as well. Some of our viewers may not know this area as well. How far is the closest hospital, would you say, to the school?
Very close, actually. Couple miles. The Utah Valley Medical, it's one of the best hospitals outside of stuff in downtown Salt Lake, and that's just a couple miles away. So it's very close. You can drive there from here. If it's just me stopping at lights, I can get there in 5 minutes.
And then it has an emergency room?
Gotten there. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.